Shots fired 147 Maple Street. Requesting backup.
I'm Mike with the Hunt Fish Shoot channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to properly use your motor vehicle for cover. There's several different locations throughout the vehicle which can be good for cover, and there's other parts of the vehicle that has just concealment. So let's talk about the two, cover and concealment. With cover, basically meaning that when you're behind it, whatever you're behind has the ability to stop bullets coming at you. Concealment basically just hides your profile, meaning that location or wherever you're hiding behind will likely not stop a bullet. So the thin sheet metal is not going to stop 9mm rounds, your most popular stuff like that, and especially your rifle rounds. Hardened steel like your rims, your engine block, multiple pillars on the vehicle, and multiple layers of steel, or aluminum in this case with this truck, will stop a lot of your 9mm and rifle caliber bullets that a lot of people aren't really aware of that. So we're going to go over the different locations on this vehicle here. This is my pickup truck. However, with the truck like this and a car or SUV, they're all really the same as far as location wise and what's the safest spot to get behind for cover if you're in a gunfight. So let's go over those locations now. And I want to mention, during demonstrations today, I'm going to be using the Hellcat RDP with ammo provided to us by True Shot Gun Club. The first location that we're going to go over is going to be your engine block area. Basically the whole front, let's say third of the vehicle, is probably one of the safest parts you can be behind for cover if you're on the side profile of the vehicle. Now, if you're laterally along the whole thing, almost the whole back end of the car is essentially a safe place for you to be, or quote unquote safe place. So, but the front here, the reason that being is because you have a lot of material here that bullets likely will not travel through. Your engine block is extremely hard for anything to go through. Of course, if you go up to some AP rounds from like a 50 cal or something like that, that's different. But in a normal public type setting throughout the world that you live in, your average day-to-day life, you're not going to encounter that. So this area here is probably one of the best ones. And what you have to remember though, is obviously, from the very top up here, your bullets can skip and they can do things, go off the top. And the top of the part here has the least amount of cover possible because there's not a whole lot at the top. So if you go down a couple inches from the top of this, like a pickup truck, because they add space, you have the whole engine block, you got your wheels here, you got all the components underneath there. A lot of it is hardened steel that bullets just will not travel through. And if they are, they're going to likely deflect. So, if you're hiding behind something like this, if you're coming up to shoot or something like that, you're going to want to come out just enough to make your shots pass over your hood without striking the vehicle itself when you're shooting. Because obviously if you're striking rounds off your car, you don't know where those rounds are going to go, and you have to be accountable for all the rounds that you fire. You can also go around the left side of the vehicle here on this case. And of course, if your car's the other way, you can go around the right side. But again, you can go underneath some cars. I will say it's possible, even on like a small passenger car like a Dodge Charger, you can't shoot underneath it if you have perfectly flat ground, no rise in the pavement or anything like that. It's possible. So keep that in consideration throughout this, that underneath the car is possible. Rounds can obviously come underneath. It's just when you're in a gunfight, you're not really going to be thinking about that, the biggest stretch of imagination. So just think about the places behind the car where you can stack the most amount of metal and hard objects in between you and gunfire. So let's move down the vehicle a little further here. Towards the midsection of the car, you have your pillars. Your pillars on the vehicle are one of the strongest places on the entire cab or frame or whatever it would be of a car, because they add a lot of steel in there in order to keep the vehicle from collapsing in a rollover type crash. Because of all that steel, and from the knowledge that I have, is that you can't even practically shoot 308 piercing bullets through that type of steel because there's so much metal in there. In addition to that, the center part of the car, there's not a ton of space. But if you stand, back from it a little bit and you're shooting through the windows after you already have gunfire go through there, you can easily do that. But you have a decent amount of space here. In this truck, you have about 12 inches probably. Obviously you got your seats, you have a lot of stuff that bullets essentially would have to go through. Again, you have to take a lot into consideration, but this is another possible location for you to take cover behind if you're in a gunfight and you have to use your vehicle for cover. On a pickup truck like this, a car is a little bit easier, frankly, because although this has a lot of profile here, your bed like this, there's not a ton of steel up here. It's very hollow, especially on this truck being aluminum, is that there's not much steel here, and across the top. But down here, you have a little bit more because you have your frame, you got your leaf springs, everything like that. With a pickup truck and a car, again, it's a little bit easier because it's a lower profile. So with a truck like this, really your only legitimate safe place back here is going to be behind your rear wheel. because you have your rims, which are a hardened alloy, and you have a lot of your axles and your leaf springs, a lot of things that bullets would have to go through. So it works out well right here. Again, over here is okay. Is it the best? No. The back of your cab on a pickup truck can work because you can stack your pillars again. But, you know, like I said, this space here, not safe. This space not here, safe. But right here it is. And again, if you're going to shoot over top, you have to keep in consideration this location here above your wheel on a pickup truck isn't going to have much. Now a car, obviously that gap's probably about 12 inches, so it's not so much to worry about. And also you're going to maybe have a trunk, and you even have more steel maybe than even a pickup truck will have with a bed. So again, keep that in consideration. Sometimes you can shoot underneath it depending on the type of vehicle it is, and again, the type of terrain you're in. Whether we're talking about the front of the vehicle or the rear of the vehicle, location-wise, they're going to be nearly identical if you're trying to shoot from front to back or back to front. So with this vehicle or a pickup truck, car, is that what you need to consider is that your sides of the vehicle will be very ideal if you're actually trying to shoot standing up or something like that. You can obviously shoot through your back glass if you want to and go through the windshield. Just remember, you're going to have to put lots of rounds through there to get those rounds to go through and be accurate. And also, two bullets can come through there. Now, granted, if you're going down the side of the vehicle and you're standing up with it, on the side here is that you have your pillars here also. So your pillars, if you're standing up, can provide you a ton of cover actually if you're trying to exchange rounds, whether it be from the right side of the car or from the left side of the car back here, and vice versa, whether you're being front to back. Now, granted, in some cases, depending on the profile of the vehicle, you could obviously shoot underneath of it. Just again, you have to take into consideration your type of terrain that you have. Granted, the whole entire back portion of this car, this truck, you have an engine block, you have tons of metal, tons of objects inside that vehicle. And if you have, let's say a pickup truck with a truck box back there or something like that, you got even more cover and things that will stop bullets. There really isn't necessarily a bad location back here. Just remember though, is that if you're hiding right here in the middle, you can't see what's going on the right side, the left side, or out ahead of you. So it's probably best that you get someone on the right or someone on the left, depending on where the threat's at, so you can keep eyes on it. Because if you just hide back here, you'll never be able to actually see your threat and stop that threat that you may have been engaged by. I've shown you now the side profile of the vehicle, the rear of the vehicle, front of the vehicle, and the best locations you can effectively use for cover if you're using a motor vehicle. With all of them, just remember, put as many objects and steel and things as you can between you and gunfire, and you should be as safe as you possibly can during a gunfight and using your vehicle for cover.